Hi, I'm Alex Kuhner with Wireless Generation, and our topic was, which I had thrown up on the board before, determining business value of a user story, how to do it and not why. Gabino and John had gotten into what you can use it for and showed a bunch of great graphs and everything this morning, but that led me to think of, so how do you get to the point of having business value actually assigned to your stories? And so we were, in our talks, we had a number of different industries obviously involved, and one of the main things is first that there's no, unfortunately I was looking for a silver bullet, there is not one. It's really specific by industry and even by project. When I stopped to think about it across the projects that I manage, you could think of many different ways to do it. And I had also wanted to ask, how do you actually tie, Gabino had brought up aside with the cost and the business value, but how do you tie the revenue to the business value to the cost? And we were talking about that and realized we should only be doing that at the feature set as opposed to at the story set. So you can have business values by stories, but shouldn't be trying to bring that back to the cost of that story versus the revenue on a story for an ROI, because it's not really what you're selling. And that led us into discussion of the minimum usable feature set of, and it's really closely tied to it of, so if you can't determine business value on a small scale of stories, what is the minimum value that you can deliver that is usable? And there are various problems with that we'll get into. But we came to that because at Wireless Generation we deliver education technology products, and we have a concept of must do, very nice to have, and nice to have, otherwise known as never going to do. And we go in, and of course because of that never going to do status, product managers say, oh, all of this is must do, and this little bit is very nice to have. And I can't think of anything that's nice to have. And so that doesn't, until we're backed into a corner, that doesn't lead to even a minimal usable feature set. So I guess I'll skip around a bit. But the challenge of that is, why are my product managers doing that? Well, we have to build the trust of, when we define what a minimum feature set is, are we actually going to get to what they really want to sell, or are we going to just be delivering their minimum value set? Or the other. So, and there was also the inverse of that of trust with values. Is the stakeholder who's setting the value using that to get it done, or is that the actual value of the story or the feature set that you're talking about? We had one example where, I guess it was a product manager type, just said everything's priority number one. And well, of course, then they had the good example of saying, well, because we have business values from the other things and we understand what the impact is on the other project, if you're saying we have to do all of this, then that's pushing this much out of another project which could deliver this value for this other stakeholder. And they also have the added benefit of it being Teach for America, and they have their business value is also, are they improving student scores? Are they improving the way teachers teach? And so that's a nice thing to use when you're saying, hey, you have to measure your business value against what other people are getting, because this is going to have more kids learning than this other thing. So we also get to use that at Wireless Generation too a bit. So honesty and values. Everyone had various measures. I mean, even our must do and very nice to have is a type of business value, but I don't think we're really using it that way. And a couple of teams actually were able to revisit business value after the release, and do that by Teach for America. I'll do that, and Wireless Generation does the same thing of saying, okay, so did this really have the impact we thought it would have on student scores or on teacher effectiveness in ways that we already knew we were going to be measuring it in that way. And then there was the other challenge of value by deadlines, which again, in education, we have you have a certain value up until September 1st, and then you got zero value until next September 1st. And so that was a challenge that we got dug a little bit into. And the last challenge that I left the group with was, how are you determining business value based on different approaches to do the same thing? And we got into the cost of achieving the same user story via the expensive model or the cheaper model, and how to manage that. And there were no silver bullets there either. But, so that was most of what we talked about.